Kroger Delivery has one mission: to deliver the freshest food right to your door. That's why our drivers are pros. Our trucks are refrigerated. And when it comes to low prices, we always deliver. With $20 off your first order of $75 or more, there's no better time to get in on the action. Mission accomplished. Restrictions apply. See site for details.
The holiday season officially starts when you get that first card in the mail. Shutterfly makes it easy to add more meaning to the everyday with hundreds of holiday card designs that can be personalized in seconds with your favorite photos from this year. Select your greeting, customize the color, and even add little extras like personalized foil to make a holiday card that really shines. Enjoy 40% off with code SMILE40 at Shutterfly.com and send something meaningful this year. See site for more details.
1, 2, 3, 4. Monster movie.
Fun time, go! Monster movie.
Fun time, go. Monster
Movie.
Fun time.
Go!
Monster movie. Fun time, go.
With Precious D and Honeybee.
Fun time, go!
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, friends and neighbors, welcome to Monster Movie Fun Time Go.
31 Days of the Dead. Day 26.
I am your host, Precious D, and with me once again is my buddy Jed D. Jed Dusler. Welcome back, Jed.
Hello, I'm so sorry.
And
My
Jed's
my
dog.
dogs have picked today
Your dog-
now to
your dogs are barking?
introduce themselves. Yes, the
My
dogs are
dogs
barking, but I'm sitting down.
Literally. Literally.
All right, y'all be quiet over there.
Today we're going to discuss, I guess it's a classic, I Walked with a Zombie from 1943. This is another pre-Romero traditional voodoo zombie movie. It is directed by Jacques Tourneur, written by Kurt Siodmak. He wrote and Ardell Ray. Kurt wrote The Wolfman and a number of other things. Donovan's Bray, I think.
Oh,
Excuse me. Too much soda. Let's see. It's 69 minutes. I'm going to edit that part out. It's 69 minutes.
sure you are.
In black and white. In English, from 1943. I don't have a budget or a box office. The cast is Frances D as Betsy Connell, Tom Conway as Paul Holland, James Ellison as Wesley Rand, Edith Barrett as Mrs. Rand, James Bell as Dr. Maxwell, Christine Gordon as Jessica Holland, Teresa Harris as Alma, Sir Lancelot as Calypso singer, Darby Jones as Carafor, Jenny Lee Gaughan as dancer, Rita Christiani as a friend of Melise, uncredited, and Gino Moxer as the Sabreur, also uncredited. I believe that means something to do with saber. He's the guy that has.
Is that like a?
He's the guy that has the sword, I believe.
Not the same thing.
No.
Okay.
I think it has to do. I think it has something to do with a saber. Remember, there was a guy with a sword as part of the ceremony that they were doing.
Yes, I do remember.
Just like our other two Voodoo Zombie movies, this one is also based on like an article somebody read. Well, one was based on a book, and the other one, White Zombie, was based on like a book or an article or something. And so is this one. The actual plot is, fictitious, but the whole idea of zombies and how they work is semi taken from reality. Somebody read a magazine article about voodoo and decided to turn it into a movie. So these tend to be a little more realistic, grounded zombies. there's still a little bit of magic voodoo going on, but it's not extreme.
Yes,
Jed, what did you
zombie
think of,
is used very loosely here. You know, I don't know. To me, the zombie equaled a general sense of malaise.
Well, this is the original form of zombie from Haitian culture and voodoo culture and religion. In that it's somebody who's supposedly died and been buried and then brought back to life and turned into a mindless slave. And
so literally they're just not full of life. I get it. But...
Yes. And it is somewhat based in reality in that there appears to be an actual process. Nobody's actually died, but they've been drugged and made to look dead and then sort of brainwashed. In this movie, we're meant to believe that she is actually dead. But still, it's the horror of the voodoo zombie is not being scared of the zombies themselves, but the horror of being turned into a zombie and being somebody's mindless slave.
Yeah,
but
she could not have ran if she wanted to.
Yeah. But this is a particularly fucked up one, I feel. So it takes place on this made-up island of San Sebastian. It's not in Haiti, actually, because they want to have some made-up history, I guess, with this whole family. I don't know. What did you think of the whole situation, Jed?
Well, I mean, first of all, it's it's kind of hard to feel sympathetic towards a sugar plantation owner,
right? Who's also a colossal asshole.
Right. He's about as friendly as a I don't know, a sharp tack. I don't know. It's just, it's.
Did you lose your metaphor?
You don't feel that you want this guy to succeed, in whatever it is that he's trying to do. Which it becomes very, very. I don't know. It's very strange. He's hiring somebody to come to the island to help care for his wife.
Yes,
who is zombied out, but we don't know that, or at least it's not uttered.
Right,
until
they just think
later.
she's sick. Yeah.
Yes.
So
although there was a very nice.
I
was going to say that he has a very nice quote later that's like, she's very beautiful for a zombie or something like that. I wrote it down, but I can't find it in my notes now. But yeah.
So we start with this nurse, Betsy Connell. She's been hired by Wesley Rand to come care for his wife, who's kind of catatonic. And she's been zombified, but we don't know that yet. I mean, the title kind of tells us that, but
right.
But the plot has not revealed that yet. And he has this half brother, Paul Holland, who is a much nicer, more charming guy, and even
but an alcoholic.
Yes, but for reasons. Oh, but the first thing, Betsy's being brought from like the dock or whatever to the plantation, to the house, and she's riding in this carriage. And there's this, native, this black guy. Well, none of them are native. They've all come there. They were brought there from Africa as slaves. And he's describing how we were brought here in chains. And he's talking about the ship. The island is named for the figurehead of the ship was a figurehead of Saint Sebastian. And I guess the ship, did they say the ship crashed? The figurehead is still set up either at the Holland House or in the town square or somewhere. The figurehead's still there. They made a fountain of it. But he's describing how they were brought, our ancestors were brought here in chains, or we were brought here in chains. And this bitch, Betsy, she's just like, well, they certainly brought you to a beautiful place. And I was like, did you hear what he just told you?
Well, and in such a nice way. He's like, if you say so, man.
Yeah, I know. But you know what he was really thinking.
Yes.
I mean,
yes,
I guess you,
like,
if
bless
you
your
have to
heart.
be, I suppose if you have to be enslaved, you may as well be enslaved in a pleasant environment, but I don't think it really makes it any better.
She's like, I don't see why you're complaining. You're on a beautiful
Yeah.
island.
Yeah.
Serving
You're not
people in
technically slaves
chains.
anymore. Yeah, you're not technically slaves. You're just wage slaves is all. Oh my God. So and then she first meets Paul, who's, the charming half brother, younger brother, I guess didn't inherit, or maybe partly owns, but he just lays it right out. He's like, maybe she met the older brother briefly, but he just lays it out that, like, oh yes, he's so tragically sad and Byronic and just straight up tells us, yes, he is the tragic Byronic, not hero really, but protagonist who you're going to fall in love with because you're a big dum-dum. And he kind of acts like he's hitting on her, but I think he's really just being charming because we find out later that there's something else going on altogether.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is, the brother was going to run away with the wife, and we find out at the end, their mother is a doctor who treats the locals, and at some point the nurse starts to suspect that the woman, what's his name,
Mrs. Rand.
Is
Mama
Mrs.
Rand?
Yes. No. Jessica Holland is the mother because Holland's the second husband. Mrs.
Jessica
Rand
Holland is the wife.
Is the zombie? Yeah. No.
The zombie wife.
Okay. Yes. Mrs. Rand is. Yes. Rand is. Sorry. Wesley Rand is the younger brother. Mrs. Rand is the mother. The two of them.
Right.
Anyway. We find out that the mother, who is a doctor, is the one that had her zombified because she was tearing her family apart.
Yes.
We did.
Yes.
We never hear,
like you do,
her side of the story. They sing a song about her. Sir Lancelot.
Oh, yes. I love that part of the
yeah.
We don't get a lot of zombie movies where there's singing of folk songs with tons of exposition.
Yep. This guy, Sir Lancelot, that's a stage name. His name is Lancelot Victor Edward Pinard. He was not actually knighted, but if you're a performer and your first name's Lancelot, of course you're going to call yourself Sir Lancelot. He was the most popular calypso singer for decades until Harry Belafonte came along as a sort of second wave calypso.
Oh.
So
new wave, if you will.
He actually released a recording of this song that he sings in the movie.
Wow.
So
I have to download that sweet gem.
Yeah, it's on Spotify. You can hear it, folks. I thought it slapped. I thought it was a good song. But he's in the song, though, he refers to the woman as being an evil woman. And the mother's attitude seems to be that she was an evil woman. And, of course, the older brother, well, she was going to leave him for his younger brother. So I guess from his point of view, she was an evil woman. But I don't think he ever comes out and says that. But we never, because she's been zombified before the movie starts, we never get to hear her side of things. And I found that really annoying.
Yes, she had the easiest lines to memorize in the entire movie.
Yeah, she did.
0.
She did. So, and then, at the end, so the nurse falls in love with the older brother for no apparent reason.
Right.
And
it was all of this is revealed in one little paragraph of dialogue.
Yeah. Yeah, she's
You
the
know, no
narrator. by the way.
flashbacks that show any of this stuff. It's just
Yeah.
like, I was watching it and I was like, oh, I need to write this down because this is a big plot point.
Yeah.
And it doesn't look like they're circling back to this.
Right. But the thing is that Paul is just a dick. He's a real dick. And I guess she's one of those women who just doesn't want a nice guy. She starts falling in love with him. And I think she's also like, oh, how tragic, his wife, he can't, oh no. Sort of he's the forbidden fruit and shit.
Right.
And he ends up basically telling her at some point, no, you've misunderstood the entire situation. I don't love my wife. I'm more than happy to run off with you as soon as it's appropriate.
Right.
I think I'm sorry I was a dick. I think you're pretty hot yourself, and I don't like my wife. I'm stuck in this horrible situation because she was going to leave me for my younger brother, and somehow they think she just got sick because of
right.
Yeah,
and so it would be inappropriate for him to just leave her while she's sick, never knowing.
But it turns out she's actually dead.
Yes, never knowing the why.
But we do see. So, like I said, in reality, people are just drugged into a death-like state. Then they're brought back to life, air quotes that you can't see, and sort of brainwashed, possibly drugged with something else to keep them pliable and suggestive. And that kind of seems what's happened in this movie. But we do also see some actual voodoo, some voodoo doll bullshit. Where they're summoning the woman to them by dragging her voodoo doll on a string across the ground, and this is making her get up and walk.
Yes, they dress this doll to look like her.
Yeah,
and then they start, voodooing her towards them, and the voodoo guy kills her with a huge needle. Then in real life, Paul kills her with an arrow that he got out of that mast. A
statue out of Saint Sebastian.
Yes.
Little known fact, people.
Which also kills Paul.
Saint Sebastian. Yes. Saint Sebastian is normally depicted as being full of arrows. He got shot full of arrows for some reason. He actually survived that incident. That's not what killed him. He died later on. I guess I don't know. I guess God saved him from being filled with arrows. Maybe I don't know much about him other than it wasn't the arrows that killed him. But that's how you always see him. That's how he's known. And usually like tied up. Not like he was fighting and got shot full of arrows. He's tied up and shot full of arrows. I got to look into that one of these days.
Yes.
But at one point when they're dragging the voodoo doll, somebody shuts the gate so she can't get out. And then when she can't physically move past the gate because she's too much of a zombie to figure out how to open it, the voodoo doll can't move any further.
Right.
Something
just
else
in case you can make the correlation, I guess.
Yeah. Something I discovered recently, though, while researching all this kind of shit. Voodoo dolls are not actually part of voodoo.
Okay.
That kind of doll does exist in certain folk traditions and magic or witchcraft or whatever. The sympathetic magic of making a doll of somebody and then doing things to it. That concept does exist in folklore, but not in voodoo. So I'm not sure how it got attached to voodoo, but it's certainly there in the popular culture. And it's in this movie even. So even as far back as the what did I say, 40s, 30s?
43, yeah.
43. It was already part of the idea. Well, and in White Zombie that we watched earlier, the Bela Lugosi makes a voodoo doll out of wax. Apparently they're...
You almost wonder if it's just Hollywood was like, you know what? Yes. This is a great visual representation.
Yeah.
We're just going to combine it.
Yes.
With that voodoo.
I don't want to say never used
with the kids these days.
Yeah. I think Wikipedia said rarely used. So I don't want to say it's never used, but it's not really a part of voodoo, and yet it's the thing we most closely associate with voodoo.
I've seen Weekend at Bernie's and Weekend at Bernie's 2. It totally exists.
Did they use a voodoo doll? I've never actually seen those movies.
Yes. I believe it's the second one, but who's counting? It's been 20 some odd years since I've seen it.
Oh my God. A movie I'll be discussing with Gabriel soon features voodoo dolls prominently. Oh, Judas Priest. Somebody else I want to mention in this movie, Teresa Harris as Alma. She was smoking hot.
She
thought she was the most attractive young lady in this movie. The beautiful zombie woman, I thought she was kind of plain. I mean, of course, she doesn't get the personality so important, and she doesn't get to display any of it. So that may have contributed.
She could have one of those shrieking, horrible voices. It might have been better that she didn't say anything.
Maybe. I'm just saying I didn't see what all the fuss was about, but
Right.
all we.
Let's just say she wasn't hired for her singing voice. Okay.
Yeah. But I mean, maybe. And she does not have any sort of like Wikipedia page or anything, so I don't know what else if anything, she's ever done. So maybe this is her first movie, and she's like, "Well, that was no fun. I'm not doing that again." I didn't get to say anything. I didn't get to talk to anybody. I just wandered around. Yeah.
Let's see, I think she did like 6 movies.
Christine Gordon?
Yeah. She did one called...
I'm sorry. I'm looking at the wrong one. I was looking at Mrs. Holland, not Mrs. Rand. No, which is... Oh, for God's sake. I've forgotten again which one's which.
Christine Gordon is the zombie lady, wife.
The mother. Okay.
The zombie wife that had no lines.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah. She did a movie that was called The Strange Death of Adolf Hitler.
Oh, okay.
She was uncredited in all these other movies that she was in. This is the only one where she was like, this is my big break. And they're like, yeah, but you're not going to get any lines.
So she doesn't have a Wikipedia page, but she has an IMDb page. Is that what you're telling me?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. Known for I Walked with a Zombie. Oh, a human, but model uncredited, young woman uncredited, first woman uncredited.
Yeah, so I guess model is probably why she got hired.
Mermansk welcomer uncredited, parachutist uncredited. Oh, that's interesting.
Whereas the other girl you were talking about, Teresa Harris, she was in like 106 movies.
Yeah, she's been in how many?
Like 106. She has 106 credits.
Oh, yeah. She's a dancer and a singer as well as an actress. She's, they were all back then, though. 1958 is her last credit. I'm gonna have to.
She was alive until 85, though.
Oh, I actually really enjoyed her performance, and I need to look up some of these other movies. She was, one of the servants who had an amusing bit about trying to lead the horse out of the.
Yeah, she also had a weird way of waking up the nurse that was there. She goes into the room, she takes the covers off of her feet, and she wiggles the toe of the. I was like, I don't understand. Is this
a
for
thing?
The plot? What's the relevance here of this, or was it just like, you know what? I've got a fun way to wake up people. I do it in my household. Let's put it in the movie. So strange.
Oh my goodness. So anyway, this thing is streaming on Tubi, folks, if you want to watch it. It's I think it's a little bit of a classic as far as zombie movies go, zombie movies of this period. Anyway,
and the fact that you don't always see zombie movies with like horse and buggies. So, that was a little bit, there's a lot of charm and a lot of class and a lot of elegance just because of the time period that was made, that I think, really classed it up a lot.
Yeah. Now the whole island seems to consist of about 10 people. that,
Right.
one, one house, one street with a cafe, and some fields in the distance.
Like zero shopping. That's also another thing.
And the home fort, they called it.
Yes.
Yeah, which is, they're mispronouncing Hunfor. It's a voodoo temple, voodoo church.
Yeah.
And they refer to it as the home fort, but that is incorrect. It's a Hunfor. It's
Hunfor, do you think would not know that?
Well, Hungon, I think I'm pronouncing that right. A Hungon is one type of voodoo priest. I forget what the other ones are called. They're basically the good ones, and then there's the not so good ones. I don't remember.
This episode is brought to you by Amazon. The holidays are here, and you know what that means. It's time to get your friends and family the gifts they deserve. Take the stress out of shopping with Amazon's great deals and low prices on a huge range of items from toys to tech and much more. Whoever you're gifting for, Amazon has great prices on everything you need this holiday season. Shop early holiday deals now.
So, I was a little overwhelmed with voodoo information for a couple of these movies, researching a couple of these movies. So, Chad, how many brains are you going to give I Walked with a Zombie?
Man, that's a good question. I'm always stringent with my brains, I guess. I mean, that I'll give it half. So like 3.5 is where I'm going to go with. Yeah, I think it's what I gave the last one too, but but for completely different reasons. So
right.
What about you?
I mean, it's I think 3, maybe half, just for what's her name, an extra half.
Sure.
For I'm gonna say her name again, Teresa Harris. So I give it 3.5. It's it's an old movie, so it's terribly problematic, but we can. That's just the way it is. You know what? Nobody's calling out the.
We should see the trailer for it. I didn't watch the trailer. I don't know if there is one.
Oh,
but I'm going to see how it was marketed to people. Like, this will get them in there.
It's probably on YouTube.
Shock and terror.
But
I don't know if I'd say that.
I walked with a zombie.
There's no shock or
exotic
terror.
voodoo rituals. Yes. They probably played up the exotic voodoo rituals and stuff like that, and played a clip of Sir Lancelot. Because he's in a few other movies. Is he in? I think he's in one of these guys, maybe more than one of them, is in Zombies on Broadway.
Really?
Yes. Zombies on. He's uncredited in Zombies on Broadway. He's a calypso singer, but the one big zombie. Bela Lugosi's in that one too. The big guy that just kind of stood there.
Right.
Darby Jones.
With the bulging eyes?
Yes, which I'm not sure to me, they look like they weren't real because he wasn't blinking at all. He was also a zombie. And I was like,
that's kind of what I got too.
They put prosthetic eyes over his real eyes so he wouldn't blink.
Yeah.
And,
I mean, you can kind of tell. It looked like it was like he was wearing a mask and it was covered with stuff.
He plays pretty much the same thing in Zombies on Broadway, which I did not put on this year's list, but I'm totally going to watch that anyway. Maybe
he was also in an episode of the Andy Griffith Show. I don't think he played a zombie in that one.
No, he's in a bunch of Tarzan films. So basically he's hired because he's a very tall black man. So he, looks very intimidating as a zombie. I hope he had lines in some of these other movies. Well, folks, that's 3.5 stars from each of us for I Walked with a Zombie, which, as I said, you can watch on Tubi. I guess it's going to Yeah,
There,
go
there
ahead.
was a line. I always like to pick out the lines, so that I can start quoting them and using them in my daily life. And there was one really good one in the movie here, so I just like to say it now, which was said by Paul when they were on the boat to the island at the very beginning of the movie.
Right.
She was talking about how beautiful everything looked, and he just completely downplayed everything that she thought was beautiful, including the glitter that you see on the ocean. That's actually just basically a bunch of dead fish and all that kind of stuff. It's a glitter of putrescence.
Yes. Yeah.
Wow.
He's just
beautiful.
like everything you think is beautiful is actually rotten and corrupted to the core. Life sucks. And she's like, oh, I think I might fall in love with him. Oh, he's so deep. He's so edgy and goth. Jesus, what a tool. Everybody in this movie is kind of a tool, but it seems like the two of them these two assholes are going to get to live happily ever after. Because
but it doesn't have a happy ending. Let's just put it. It's not a Hollywood ending by any means.
Well, I think it's going to be because he's going to be like, oh, thank God, my wife that I didn't really love and my brother who betrayed me are now both dead, and through no fault of mine. And so now I can marry this hot nurse I like. My mother may or may not go to jail, but
it's an island. Nobody's going to say anything.
Yeah, exactly. Who's going to arrest her? We run this island. It's but if she does, at least I have the plantation. I don't know. I think that doctor might have reported her to somebody. The doctor who figured out what was going on.
Well, and I think that this movie gave us something that we may not have heard somewhere else. And the nurse asked the doc, at the very beginning, what is a zombie? And the doctor goes, a ghost, a living dead. It's also a drink.
Yeah, it is. It is.
That's just what you need to start. You think that's the theme for the entire month. It's like a zombie is a ghost, a living dead, but it's also a delicious beverage.
Oh, well, on that note, I think it's time to wrap it up. Thanks for joining me, Jed.
Thanks for having me.
Folks, if you enjoy the show, please rate and review us and like and subscribe and all of those things. Consider supporting us on Patreon at patreon.com/MMFTG. Until next time, I have been Precious D. With me has been Jeddy Cocker, Jed Dusler, the Juiceler. Remember to keep calm and take shelter in basements. Please don't misuse science. We won't see you, but you will hear us next time on Monster Movie Fun Time Go. You've been listening to Monster Movie Fun Time Go. If you enjoyed the show, please consider rating and reviewing us on your podcasting platform of choice. You can leave us a message and find links to all our things at mmftg.com.